Hello everyone, I am Benjamin. Thanks for clicking on this video and welcome back to Anime in 5, where I talk about an anime I recently watched in 5 minutes. I finally saw Demon Slayer 2 years later. As you may know, I am a casual when it comes to anime, meaning I don't watch it as it simultaneously releases in Japan, except for Dragon Ball related stuff. And Demon Slayer has finally made its way onto Netflix, my preferred platform of choice. And well, it's good. It's a good show. First and foremost, it was a little overhyped. I had one friend who was watching it as it would air in Japan, and he just would not stop talking about it. So he kind of overhyped it for me a little bit, but it is still really good. Really good characters, really good story, which we'll get into. The animation of the show is also really good. I like the art style and some of the design choices they chose to go with, such as the main character. His name is Tanjiro. He does a technique what's referred to as water breathing. I guess there's breathing for everything. There's fire breathing, thunder breathing, insect breathing. I'm not sure how that last one works. But so because he uses water breathing, all of his attacks have water, and they're very stylized, and the anime as a whole looks really good. Going back to Tanjiro, he's the checkerboard boy over here. He's a little bit like Wolverine. He has the ability to smell really, really good. That concept is okay, it's different. I'm not opposed to it. However, there was one enemy that he was able to take down just simply by smelling where to cut him. That's kind of dumb. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's really, really, really dumb. I also like that they were able to visually convey his stubbornness and his ability to see things through to the end. He headbutts people quite a bit, and it's just like a visual representation of just how hard-headed he is and how he will accomplish his goals without fail. This anime is a little gory. There is blood, there's severed limbs, things like that, but it's not as bad as I thought it was. A lot of the times there's like, not a lot, but it's like cutaway kind of violence that still shows blood being spewed everywhere. I don't know, maybe I'm just becoming desensitized. I hope that's not the case. Some little kids probably shouldn't watch this. Parents, do your job. Little kids shouldn't watch this. I'm saying 12 or under, don't have them watch something else. And while we're on the subject of violence, can I just kindly praise Nezuko, which is Tanjiro's sister who got turned into a demon. This is all in the first episode, so I'm not spoiling anything for you guys. This lady would be excellent at soccer.
Arranca Landon, sigue Donovan, la tira larga, va a venir el disparo, centro, el arquero, gol.
One thing that I noticed throughout the whole entire series is it constantly reminded me of Inuyasha. Not necessarily story-wise, but I think just the setting, the demons, there's Nezuko, who was a human and is now a demon. So it's almost like she's kind of like a hybrid. She's just like a demon who can just kind of control her urge to feast on humans. I don't know what it is. It's probably just the time period that the show takes place in, the constant references to demons, all these sword fighters with techniques and stuff, and also the main villain of the story. Let's see if I can get his name right. It is Muzan Kubutsuji. Muzan Kubutsuji. Anyway, this dude over here with the fedora, I get real big Naraku vibes from him. He reminds me of Naraku, very calm, very collected, manipulator from the shadows, using other people to his will and to his whim as he sees fit. And that's probably the biggest connection for me between Inuyasha and this show. Next, I want to talk about the fight scenes. The fight scenes, as the anime continues on, they get more and more creative. At one point, Tanjiro comes across this demon who has drums all over his body, and every drum that he hits manipulates the room that they're fighting in. It rotates it left, right, front, back, all the stuff. And it was really cool, that concept of he can manipulate the room around him. It made it very interesting versus just, I'm the new biggest, baddest demon on the block and try to beat me kind of thing. But there are some that are kind of lame. The two other demons that they face before this story, one is a girl with 6 arms who throws balls. Yes, you heard that right. That is her primary means of attacking, throwing balls. I'll let that sink in. I don't see how that was supposed to be threatening. It came off as just kind of like a joke almost, like, oh, maybe this is just a build up to something else she can do. Like, no, she has 6 arms and thus can throw 6 balls at a time. Finally, there are 2 other characters that are important to the story. One of them is named Zenitsu. Probably said that wrong. He's the blonde-haired kid who cries about everything. That whole character of him just being a whiny, snivelly coward almost gets to the point of being annoying, but thankfully it doesn't quite get there. It almost got there. The anime wrapped up, or the season rather, wrapped up before it got too grating. And to be honest, he was probably the funniest character of the bunch. Just seeing his over-the-top reaction to every little thing. Especially, they come across some spider demons, and it's because a lot of people have a phobia of spiders. It was just fantastic to just see this guy just totally lose his crap. He's easily the funniest character. The other character is Inosuke. He is the guy with the boar head mask. Man, out of all the characters on the show, for whatever reason, he was the one that I related to the most. Apparently, a lot of people say that they relate to Zenitsu more. I disagree for me personally. In fact, his character related to me so much that I actually think I'm going to give him his own video, because I can't help but feel like he represents something more, not just to the show, but to anime viewers as a whole. Look out for that video later. So, one thing about the whole world of Demon Slayer is that most, if not all, of the demons were once human at some point. And a lot of these demons have like tragic backstories from when they were human. For example, going back to the guy with the drums on his body, before he was a demon, he was like an amateur writer, poem writer kind of thing, and nobody would give him a chance. They wouldn't even like listen to his stuff. He was constantly trying to get people to just give it a shot, and people wouldn't even like. There was one character, which I'm not sure who that person was, someone in his life literally stepped on his work and pretty much was like, this is trash. And so, granted, because nobody thinks your poetry is good, I wouldn't exactly see that as a reason to seek out demonic powers. But there are some other stories with other characters I don't want to get into because it'd be giving away too much, but they get sadder as they go on. My problem with this is that they just shoehorn it in at like the last possible minute. Like quite literally before these demons die. They do a quick little flashback of like who they were before they became consumed with demonic power. Especially with some of the later fights, mainly the last main major fight of the season, it would have been so much more better and so much more impactful if they would have told us this before they had even started fighting. Because again, right before the main bad of this season bites the big one, we're introduced to like 10 minutes of his backstory and all this other stuff. And again, tearjerker stuff. And yeah, okay, I do feel bad in that instant, but I would have felt so much worse as a viewer if I would have known this ahead of time. The other thing they also seem to shoehorn in are some of the powers. Tanjiro, he only knows 10 techniques of the water breathing, but apparently there's an 11th that one of the other characters knows. and so they could have alluded that there's maybe an infinite number of techniques that you can learn with the breathing, or even with Nezuko. Demons have like powers, they're called blood arts, and each one is unique to every demon kind of thing. Well, Nezuko's is that her blood explodes. This only happens at like the very end of the season. And they could have totally built up to that, because Nezuko gets cut, she gets beat, she gets bloodied, and not once did we see any kind of signs of, her blood having this ability. I think it would have been easy just throughout the series, just anytime she got cut or something, like maybe her blood starts to like evaporate, or maybe it like burns the ground that it's on, something to kind of allude to like, oh, there's something special about her blood, there's something special about her, and then it finally come to a head in the last fight where like, oh, her blood explodes, and that's awesome. Finally, one more bad thing about the show. We're introduced to a bunch of characters right at the end, probably within the last 4 or 5 episodes. They are referred to as the Hashiri. They were introduced into this anime kind of at the last minute, and so like none of them have any time to build character, none of them have time to show their personality other than one-note traits kind of thing. And they just all come off as just the biggest bunch of a-holes. I mean, they're merciless. They're merciless a-holes. And because they just want to kill Tanjiro's sister. And they just come off as a-holes. Hopefully as time goes on, they'll get flushed out and maybe we can sympathize with them as characters better. But right now, they're a-holes, and if they all died, I honestly would not care. And finally, my last point, which is really, really cool. At the time of this recording, there is a Demon Slayer movie coming out, the Mugen Train. I think I said that right. And unlike most anime movies, they kind of take place in their own little world, or they have nothing to do with the main continuity of the story. Dragon Ball Z is guilty of that, I think, most obvious. But apparently this movie is 100% canon to the story. Season 1 ends, I won't spoil it too much, but it ends with them, Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke, they're off to their next mission. And in order to get to that next mission, they have to board a train. And so that's where it ends. They board the train, off to the next mission. The movie takes place on this aforementioned train. And I think that's really dope that, again, I'm not sure if this is the first time this has happened, probably not. But the movie is going to be canon to the story. In fact, it'll literally be, if you missed the movie, you essentially missed what happened during the duration between season 1 and season 2. And I like that. I think that's really cool. I wish more anime out there would take it more seriously. Well, anyway, guys, that was it. I think I actually went over 5 minutes. We'll see. Maybe editing magic will take place and it will be only 5 minutes. Demon Slayer is great. Watch it. It's really, really, really good. It's not as good as some people make it sound. Sorry. It's a little overhyped. But go ahead and watch it. And also be on the lookout for the Inosuke video. It is coming soon. I am Benjamin. Thanks for clicking on this video. Have a good one.